This Luzerne County couple is taking a break from the heat.
The air conditioning is nice on a hot day.
Especially when he's headed back to a hot kitchen.
My nickname is Pierogi Joe, and when they see me, they say, oh, there is a real Pierogi Joe.
He's the man behind this stand at the Allentown Fair.
People say this is the reason why I came to the fair, to see Joe. Well, this freezer right now holds about 500, a dozen.
And all 6,000 of them.
They're homemade. We do it from scratch with the flour and the eggs and mashed potatoes and cheddar cheese.
Joe Sinavage grew up around pots, pans, and pierogies.
I grew up actually in a restaurant. My grandparents came from Poland, Czechoslovakia, Lithuania.
But tradition isn't just in the recipe.
And you said onions, right?
Yes, please.
Joe has been serving up his Polish plates for more than a quarter of a century at the Allentown Fair every year since
1990 in September. 26 years of being here, you meet a lot of friends and family and tradition.
He's now 66.
You know, I can't do what I used to do. Zappy, I can still cook. I can still boil water, and I try to do my best.
But his customers sure seem to think that Joe's still got it.
It's definitely the best.
Earl Lynn has been putting on this name tag and hitting the scene of the Great Allentown Fair as a volunteer since the early 70s.
I enjoyed it. I thought it was worthwhile, the agriculture, the people you meet here, the things to do.
As a 92-year-old lifelong resident of the Lehigh Valley,
Midway's okay to go down.
Earl says he's seen the value the fair brings to the community, not only economically, but also through the stories of generations of family fairgoers who stream in and out of these gates every year.
When you get this old, you like to hear things like that.
Earl's duties primarily include working on the executive board of the fair, as well as monitoring the gates.
How's it going tonight, guys?
How you doing, sir? How you doing?
He says every year it's greeting the returning fairgoers that brings him the most joy.
And I'm amazed at return business. People come in and generations, not just one.
And while he is 92 years old, Earl has no plans of slowing down.
Still working, Bill.
He says he'll continue to contribute and volunteer until he just can't anymore.
I hope I helped them in some way.
Had a great week.
Okay, keep up the good work.
Yes, thank you, we will.
Okay.
And the fair veteran has a parting thought for the next generation of the Great Allentown Fair.
Keep things going like they are.
In Allentown, Kelly Gibbs, 69 News.
This is my livelihood.
Keith Royal is the owner of Ruby's Flower Factory in Bethlehem. He says last Friday packed a punch for his business.
We got a call from my employee saying it's not good.
Not good translated into this, an estimated $30,000 worth of merchandise damaged or destroyed from 9 ceiling pieces that fell to the floor. Royal says the ceiling pieces are still soaking wet and believes the destruction stems from water damage in the building.
We had 2 weddings this past weekend, and we also had a funeral going on. It sent us into a tailspin on Friday.
Royal says this isn't the first time his business has sustained damage. Last year on Black Friday, he says something similar happened, but that time only a few tiles fell to the floor.
I wanted to stay because I love this. We work so well with our neighbors. We fed off of our neighbors.
But now many of his neighbors have left the building. Royal says this incident has encouraged him to move to another location in Bethlehem. He's asking for help from the city as well as the property owner, Valley Theaters, Inc.
And when you walk in and you see your hard work toppled over, wet, your merchandise, you don't know how to feel, and I still don't know.
Seesaws are enjoyed by kids on playgrounds everywhere. But on this seesaw, the kids are just a little bit older, and instead of on a playground,
we're in the middle of campus, so everybody walks by.
And that's exactly the point. Students from Lehigh University Sigma Chi fraternity and Alpha Omicron Pi sorority are riding this thing on Lehigh's front lawn for 50 hours straight.
People have like 2 a.m. shifts, 3 a.m., 4 a.m., so seesawing all night.
And all throughout the day. Each member of the fraternity and sorority takes an hour or 2-hour shift at a time.
Seesaw's fun. You get a little tired by the end of your shift, but it's really fun. It's a great way to just hang out with people.
These students aren't just trying to relive childhood memories. They're doing it for a good cause.
It helps raise awareness, raise money for Wilson's disease.
It's a rare condition that causes copper to build up in the body's tissues. If it's not detected early, the disease could be deadly.
Recently, a member in our fraternity had a sister who had got Wilson's disease. She was lucky enough to be able to get a liver transplant, which is one of the only cures.
Thanks, man. Thank you. Thank you.
So the students are doing what they can to support the cause. They hope as they ride up in the air, the amount of money they raise goes up too.
It's a very rare disease, so they actually need help funding. So we're happy to help them.
Every year, trees leave Bustard's Christmas Tree Farm in Lehighton. But this year, the farm has a very special task for a very special customer.
It's really an honor for our family and business.
Glenn Bustard is changing the chain on his chainsaw in preparation of making one of the most exciting cuts he's ever made on his farm.
It's such a great experience to be supplying the White House with the tree. It's such an honor.
The tree was selected by White House staff members and will be delivered by Glenn and his family to be put on display in the Blue Room of the White House. Bustard's Christmas Trees Farm was chosen after winning a national tree competition in Illinois.
The grand champion gets to supply the White House if they have a tree big enough.
And Glenn and his family happen to have just the tree. This 19-foot Fraser fir.
We measure them down to the inch that we could figure it out.
Now loaded up and ready for the trip south.
We'll present it to Michelle Obama at the White House.
It's a trip that's highly anticipated by all at the farm, and one that's a first for a tree farm in its nearly 100-year history.
It's quite an accomplishment, huh?
In Lehighton, Kelly Gibbs, 69 News.